Everybody likes to talk about their everyday carry, their EDC package, whatever that happens to be. That means different things to different people. So what you see in front of me is my everyday carry, my EDC package. I view that in three different elements. The first is personal defense. The second is survival. And the third is just personal business. What do I need to get done? What kind of tools do I need to have in my pocket to get through the day? So I'll talk briefly about each of these three different areas, my choices, my decisions, why I do that kind of thing. And then what I'm going to do is break each part down into its own individual video so I can talk more in depth, because I do think choices are important. It's important why I chose a particular weapon or a particular flashlight. It's important what I carry in my pocket and why. At least it's important to me. May not be important to anybody else, but it's important to me. So we'll talk about that in a little more depth. So on the personal defensive side, you see a pistol. This happens to be a Ruger LC9. I've had it for about a year, really happy with it. I carry 3 magazines with me, 1 in the weapon. And for ammunition, I'm fond of Hornady's new critical defense ammunition. I carry 7 rounds in each magazine. 1, of course, is in the weapon. And then 2 I carry in my rear left pocket. And I'm a big fan of making sure you carry everything in the same place so that when things go to hell in the handbasket, you don't have to wonder, golly, I wonder where my weapon is, I wonder where my knife is, that kind of thing. The knife I get is a easy opening Kershaw, and this happens to be their 1760. It's got a nice blade, keeps a great edge, easy to open, and again, this I carry in a particular spot, and that's my rear right pocket. And then I carry a flashlight. This happens to be Surefire's L6 or LP Lead Defender. Now I've had a bunch of flashlights over the years. I was fond of the little LED flashlights, various size mag lights, and finally I've migrated up to the 6P by Surefire. And we'll talk about that more in depth when we look at the personal protection element by itself. Now I do at times carry a different pistol, and my choice is a Glock 36. It's a .45 caliber ACP. Again, I carry 2 7-round magazines, and again I use the Hornady critical defense ammunition in it. Obvious differences when you look at them side by side. Weight, size, concealability. Honestly, I don't have issues with any of that with either of them. If I carry the 36, I usually put it in a strong side Serpa holster. Works very well, easily concealed. I'm fond of the 5.11 tactical concealment shirts, extra length, snaps for buttons. Velcro holds a slot on the side so that it's easily opened. And that's typically what I'll carry for concealment, or use as a concealment garment. It depends on the time of year though. This time of year, this is the end of November. Sometimes my leather jacket, bomber jacket, works just fine. The only thing you have to remember is if you're carrying strong side without an additional concealment garment in under it, then you simply need to remember to keep your jacket on. That's not an issue here in Iowa. You can do open carry. I don't think it's a good idea for a whole bunch of reasons, not the least of which, if there is something that goes down in the place you're in, you have "shoot me first" written all over you because you're the one that is easily identified carrying a weapon on you. So anyway, those are the 2 pistols that I'll go back and forth with for concealed carry. And that then is my typical everyday carry personal defensive system, including a tactical knife, a good solid tactical flashlight, and my weapon of choice. either a Ruger LC9 or a Glock 36 45 caliber ACP. The next part I'll drop down to is a survival environment or element. I have for years and years taught a wilderness survival class, and one of my fond questions is you should have, or what are the 3 things you have in your pocket right now, this moment, that you can use to start a fire. Fire is important for a couple reasons. One, of course, is just purification of water, cooking of food, even slightly rancid food if you need it. If you need meat, protein, you can get away with a lot more stuff if you can cook it. A lot of it is comfort. There's a lot of comfort to be had sitting on the side or sitting around a fire while everything's going to hell in a handbasket around you. There's just that element of, I guess the best word is comfort. I have 3 elements in it: just a regular lighter, a small one, and then I usually take 2 old birthday candles, wrap it in wide cellophane tape, and wrap that to the lighter. I'll swap this out every 6 months, whether I've touched it, used it, or not. Obviously, you're looking to start a fire in all kinds of weather, from a downpour to blistering heat, and a lighter gives you a little leg up on that. The next common element is a striker. With a striker and a striking element, it can either be a knife or, in this case, a blade that came with it. This is a little $3 deal, but it does do a pretty good spark. It works better when you don't have the 2 together, but you'll get the idea there. Honestly, the way I usually use this is to light my white gas camp stove, so I don't use a match up on it. But it comes in handy if you do need to start a fire about some part, and we'll talk about the elements of that a little bit more when I break this part out separately. And then I like to carry a small magnifying glass. This is just a Fresnel lens. You can buy these at any Walmart, Target, dime store for about $1.50. Obviously, you need a reasonable amount of sunshine. It's not going to work on a cloudy day. Probably not going to work even if you have clouds passing over. Does need to be a sunny day. Not going to work at 7 o'clock at night when the sun's almost down. So within parameters, if this is your only option, you need to wrap your day around finding time to build your fire. So those are the 3 elements I always have in my pocket to start a fire. And I've had those in my pockets for decades, actually. And then the last tool is a juice from Leatherman. It's the CS4. A great little tool that will break down, but it has a knife, a corkscrew, an awl, a Phillips screwdriver, a pair of scissors, a small saw, 3 different flat blades, all in one nice little package that honestly the majority of my work is working with computer equipment. If I go into a customer's place and I can't fix it with this, then I need to take it out of their environment and bring it back to my office. It's that flexible. So that would be my survival element. The last piece is personal. Obviously, I have a wallet. In the wallet, you carry all the standard things. Now, when you're carrying for protection, obviously you need to carry your carry permit. In my state, it's required. Good credit cards are handy to have along. Ones that actually have a balance on them. Although, just as a word of caution, I try to keep a standard policy where if I'm on the road for a trip, I try not to carry one of those that if I do have a credit card that the bank has really slipped the limit on. You know, I mean, ridiculous. In years gone by, we've seen credit card limits go up to $20,000, $30,000, and that's ridiculous. I'd never stick one of those in my pocket. So with my local bank, I form an agreement on how much I have on it, and I keep it low so that if somebody does rip it off, from the time it's gone until the time I get to the bank and can notify them it's been stolen. And I understand all the protections banks have, and I understand all the protections of insurance policies and yada, yada, yada. I'm just paranoid that way, so I do my best to keep the limits low. I will always carry cash in it of some amount. There are chances where you could get into an environment where the net's down, the tellers don't work, you've been burned, quote unquote, for some reason, your cards are dead and you can't use them. So that there is always room for cash in your life, and I always try to carry an amount of cash on me. That amount depends on where I am. It's one amount if I'm around home. It's another amount if I've decided to hit the road and I'm on the road for 2 or 3 days. I carry and wear on my arm currently my watch of favor happens to be a Casio Pathfinder. It has all the elements I wanted, both for personal use as well as for wilderness survival. I can set alarms, I can see displays of time, but then it has their ABC switch. A for altitude. Great if you're doing a backpack trip and you just are going up and down and you want to get some idea where you are. Now keep in mind, barometric altimeters are iffy from the point of view that you really need to set them to a known local barometric pressure before you start your trek. Honestly, I never do that. I always have a GPS along with me. But more importantly for me, there's a tracking barometer image on it that lets me know over the last 24 hours has the barometer been going up and down, up or down. And based on that and cloud formation, you can figure out, is there a storm coming? Is the weather clear? Is it changing fast? Is it changing slow? And you can make both good trek decisions and, if you need to, good hiking decisions and survival decisions as well, if you know what the barometric pressure is. Of course, it also has a compass, which I have not had a compass on my person again for decades, whether it be one of the little button type that go on a watch band, or whether it be one like this. This is, I think, my second or third watch that had the built-in compass in it. Again, for a backpack trip or a canoe trip, especially like a canoe trip, it's nice if you're paddling along to get a quick heading to make sure you're keeping on the bearing that you want. Or if you're, again, out in the wilderness and you look at your topo map and you want to get some idea where you are, match up the heading to a couple different mountain peaks and work your way backwards from that. It's just a nice solid device. And then of course, along with that, it also has the alarm clocks, the timers. Honestly, I don't use any of that, but they're in there if you're a runner, for example, or a Ironman competitor. Who knows? But those things are in there if you want to use them. This particular watch also has a nice sync to the Boulder, Colorado, or whatever local radio station there is broadcasting time. So I think it syncs every day at midnight, so the time is extremely accurate. And it's also a solar powered watch, so you don't have to worry about swapping out batteries, that kind of stuff. It's made out of titanium, just tougher than all get out, so I'm really happy with that. And then in the middle I have my cell phone. This happens to be a Google Nexus 1 watch, or watch, cell phone. It performs so many different functions for me. From my business point of view, of course, it has a full-up web browser, so if I need to get to online client files, if they need to send me PDF files or data files, they can do that all to my phone. It lets me make any calls I want, lets me do text, lets me send email, lets me do all the social networking crap that's out there, everything from Twitter to Facebook. But then in addition to that, it has a good solid set of maps. It has a built-in GPS. It has a built-in camera. There are a number of applications out there that enhance on those pieces. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the expanded item when we talk about the personal area. I would never leave home without that anymore. Of course, I've carried cell phones from the days of the bag phones all the way up through this little jewel here, and If you're, heaven forbid, ever involved in a shooting situation, the ability to have a camera to record events while it's going on, to even just click on the record button and record the audio, can be the difference between you going to jail or not. Can be the difference between having everything accurately recorded and not. And then of course there's the whole other thing, just car accidents. You forgot your camera and you want to take a picture of the kids or the grandkids. It's just a nice solid tool for everyday use, much more than just a cell phone anymore. So there you have it in a nutshell, my everyday carry, the personal defensive side, the survival kit side, and the just the everyday personal stuff that I need to get done as a person working through business and working through life. I hope this makes sense to you. It's not a lot, but it gets the job done for what I need. The next set of videos that I'll do is I'll break down each of these different elements and we'll talk about them in depth. Hope this video has value for you, that you find use in it. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have any comments, please leave them. I'll always be civil, but I think the more we learn from each other, the more we support each other, the more the value there is in this kind of thing. So thanks so much for your time, and we'll catch you on the next one.